is. Faith is not a blind belief. It is the strength found in our shared community and the convictions that shape our nation.
Welcome to Faith in America, exploring political and patriotic themes for a stronger nation.
Good afternoon from Middle Tennessee. We got our 2 o'clock live broadcast now, and one of the first things we're going to talk about is let me move that swing state fraud reckoning. There has been more fraud uncovered in the swing states, and we're going to be talking about that. Man, they are uncovering tons of fraud, and guess who's paying for all this? That's right. There's Rumble Studio. There we go. There. All right, now. Here's my thing about the fraud, and let me move my teleprompter up a little bit. I do use a teleprompter, and I'm gonna. We're talking about some of the conservative Republicans, Democrats, conservative liberals, and frankly, every American taxpayer. Medicaid fraud, not political talking points, not partisan speculation. Actual criminal allegations now being prosecuted in Pennsylvania. On August 4th, 2026, the Justice Department announced charges against 19 defendants in Pennsylvania in cases involving more than $4 million in alleged Medicare and Medicaid frauds claims. These cases involved home care services that prosecutors alleged were never actually provided, and some of the allegations are almost unbelievable. One alleged caregiver billed Medicaid while being incarcerated in prison. Another allegedly billed while driving for rideshare and food delivery service. Another allegedly billed for home care services while the supposed caregiver was involved in a traffic stop. In other cases, Medicaid was billed while the caregiver was actually in court attending a sentencing hearing. These are not abstract accounting errors. These are allegations of people claiming taxpayer-funded services happened when investigators say they couldn't have happened. Pennsylvania is a particularly important state in this discussion. According to the Justice Department, Pennsylvania has become a target for fraudsters exploiting Medicaid home care funds designed to help the elderly and vulnerable residents remain in their homes. It has no electronic visit verification systems. Josh Shapiro's administration says Pennsylvania charged 119 Medicaid fraud cases in 2024 and recovered more than $11 million. That was in 2024, and hasn't got much bigger. And of course, you can compare that to Minnesota. It's not Republicans versus Democrats. It's not who's responsible. The better question is who's watching the money. Fraud is not Republican. Fraud is not Democrat. Fraud is criminal. So we have more fraud, Minnesota, California, Pennsylvania. And my take on this is going to be real simple. Progressives and blue-collar Democrats want health care for all. Well, we do away with Obamacare, and we have all this money from all these fraud cases. We end the fraud, waste, and abuse. We could probably come up with a way to extend health care services to everyone in America. The problem is right now, today, if you don't end the fraud, waste, and abuse and put up guardrails to prevent further fraud, waste, and abuse, enlarging the system to include more people is just going to include more fraud. And that's not what we want. We want to be good stewards of the American tax dollars. We want to be good stewards of America's money, because remember, that money is our tax dollars. That money's coming out of our pocket and into the pocket of fraudsters, and we Really don't want that. Before I get into the USS Arizona, I'm going to spend considerable time on that. I want you to talk to you about these people I've never met, don't know them, they don't pay me no money. They're just people I listen to. And we got Vince coming on at 8 a.m. Rumble.com/Vince. Haley, 2 Ys, why? Because she's amazing. And Sean Parrish, all coming on the Magino Report. And that you can find that on Rumble, the Magino Report. And watch these people. They've got great podcasts, great news. And of course, the Dan Bongino show at 10 o'clock, the God Pastor of podcasting, and a great podcast to listen to, Graham Allen, and he has Hot Seat Todd with him. They go over the news and everything, and it's really, really great. And of course, later on in the day, you can watch it on demand or watch it live. We had The Last Word with Todd Spears. He's a good Christian man, got a degree in theology and biblical studies. He's going to bring you a word from the Lord. So there you have it. Watch these guys. That's Vince comes on at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Then comes Graham Allen. Then comes Dan Bongino. And later in the day, Haley and Sean, who just started his show this week. Okay? We're going to talk about, got to talk about USS Abraham Lincoln. The media is going wild. And really pushing this narrative that things are not what they should be. And this little cartoon showed up. I'm not sure if it's funny, but it's a little cartoon showed up. But I wanted to talk about it before I get into the USS Abraham Lincoln's controversy. I wanted to compare, and that's why I went to ChatGPT, to see what kind of recreational opportunities they have aboard an aircraft carrier. And I compared a naval ship to a Carnival cruise. And Carnival cruises can have problems aboard the ship just like a naval ship. Mechanical failures, Carnival yes, Navy ship yes. Plumbing and sewage problems, Carnival yes, U.S. Navy yes. Power outages, Carnival yes, Navy yes. Rough seas weather, yes for both. Illness outbreaks, yes for both. Food shortage problems, yes for both. Fire emergencies, possible on both. Long periods away from port, Carnival is usually days. Military, it's often weeks and months. The crew mission on the Carnival cruises are, of course, passenger service. And in the Navy, it's military missions. They get extensive military training, and they're all military personnel. I want you to watch this video. Watch this video. I'm going to make it full screen. There we go. Now add this to, and I want you to listen to what this man says about the USS Abraham Lincoln controversy. As soon as I turn on the sound.
And I put tuna packets in it. That's what I ate. And you know what? I was happy to have it because you know what I ate in Afghanistan for 6 months on a burner with using a little burner? I ate ramen noodles. I had to pull the seasoning packet out because I had too much sodium in it, and I put tuna packets in it. That's what I ate. And you know what? I was happy to have it because the alternative was an MRE or something cooked by the Afghan guy who was too stupid to be given a gun, and they let him be the cook. And so if I wanted something spicy, test my fate a little bit, I'd go get a bowl of whatever he made in that giant, urn thing that he had. I mean, how weak are you on TV complaining about tuna and noodles? I'm sorry. You volunteered to serve your country. You can come back, get out of the military, and do like all of these Democrat veterans and complain about it and make commercials and be a sellout if you want to, and come up with a new way of doing things. The last Democrat president that I remember that was deploying troops, Barack Obama.
All right, well, that's enough of that. You kind of get the gist. This guy was in a war zone in Iran, and yeah, he's not real happy with this. Then I did a Chat GPT research. Chat GPT is not conservative, but it says what recreational facilities can be found aboard an aircraft carrier. They got gyms and fitness centers, basketball courts, bowling, game rooms, libraries and reading areas, movie entertainment areas, TV lounge areas, internet computer access, running exercise areas, and the ship's store where they buy the snacks, toiletries, clothing, electronic accessories, etc. And they had the mess deck, of course. We had a place to eat and spend time together. I was in the Navy. I was on board a ship. We were home ported in Sardinia, Italy. And we spent 3 months in port and 2 weeks out at sea, which really was a great appointment. But even in port, we had septic problems. We had shortages of certain things. I remember one time we had a shortage of toilet paper. And depending on your rank, depending on how many sheets, little square sheets of toilet paper you got to use. Now, I have a video, I don't have it right now, of a sailor on board the USS Abraham Lincoln complaining about the showers being dirty and the toilets being dirty aboard the ship. And in case you don't understand, it's up to the sailors to clean the ship. If the showers are nasty, if the toilets are nasty, that means the sailors themselves are not cleaning it. And it's not really a problem for the military. It's a problem for the sailors for not getting up and cleaning that ship. I know they've been at sea a long time and they're in a war zone, but they've got bowling alleys, basketball courts, gyms, all kinds of recreational activities available. They have internet access. They can, and cell phones where they can call the family. When I was in, of course, we were home port in Italy. If I wanted to call home, I had to wait till 3 o'clock in the morning to use the one phone you could use to call the United States, and it cost $300. And yes, you have to wait for your food. I was on a ship with 800 guys. When morning chow started, there was a line, and it kept the line till chow was over with. Same for lunch, same for dinner. Except they had express line for lunch and express line for dinner. But beyond that, a lot of times I would skip breakfast, go to my office, open a pack of Little Debbie snacks, and have that with my coffee because the lines were long. But I bought my little snacks, and I had them with my coffee in the morning. A lot of times I was too busy to eat supper. So I would get a pass to use the midnight rations, which at midnight they serve a breakfast. And I would eat that. And that would get me kind of full until I could get back to my office the next morning and get back to my little Debbie snack cakes. Now, what is this U.S. Abraham scandal? Well, to the media, it's a scandal. To former veterans, it's a bunch of crime. And let me screen share this. Okay. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. If I can. Nope, can't. All right. Well, there's the article. And you're going to read along with me. Daniel Bobinski had a post. And Graham Allen reposted it. He raised an important distinction. Difficult military deployment is not automatically evidence of a scandal. The current controversy also deserves careful fact-checking rather than dismissing every sailor or family complaint. Now talk about they've been at sea 200 consecutive days. Submarines sometimes are underneath the water for 3 or 4 months. And it has demonstrated resilience, and its mental case numbers are among the lowest of the Navy's 11 carriers. At the same time, families and lawmakers have reported concerns about food, water, sanitation, male mental health, and prolonged separation. Okay. You get talking families to FaceTime and your phone. You get mail on a regular basis, not every day, whenever the mail gets brought over by helicopter. Prolonged separation. I wouldn't see my family for a whole year. And I had to pay my way back to the United States. And pay my way back to Italy. When I got married, I had to pay my way back to the United States. I had to pay my way from my wife and I back to Italy. And I will admit, being in the military, the absences that you have to make, the sacrifice you have to make, was too much for my marriage, and the marriage didn't survive. But that happens. No more in civilian life than it does on board a ship. Military service is not cruise ship deployment is hard. Being away from your family is hard. Okay? Long deployments aren't new. It's been happening. Fresh food can become limited during prolonged operations at sea. That's not a new phenomenon. The carrier cannot simply pull into a grocery store because the crew wants fresh produce. Supply chains in a combat zone are complicated. Recent reporting has specifically noted that the logistical difficulties of flying carriers that cannot make normal port calls. And yes, long chow lines happen. There's a difference between the chow line was long and the Navy deliberately subjecting sailors to unacceptable conditions. Showers, molds, and cleanliness. Here's another important distinction. A military ship is a shared living environment. Sailors have responsibilities. Okay? They clean and maintain. They follow procedures. They take care of the space where they live. So if mold appears in a shower, we shouldn't automatically conclude that the Navy intentionally created horrible conditions. The leadership has its responsibilities up to the petty officers and the chiefs and the officers to make sure that sailors keep things clean, and if a problem persists, plumbing problems, whatever, that it gets resolved. Fresh water, of course, is a precious commodity, and mental illness is an issue. I had an issue with it in the military, and they sent back to the States. But look, you're in the military. You're in a war zone. Why they don't have blackouts on the cell phones and the internet access in a war zone, I'll never know. But they have it, and they can use it. Everything else is of their own making, or is something that needs to be fixed. Yes, there's problems. We have to admit that. We have to come up with solutions, and the solution is there's a ship heading that way. This. Oh yeah, well, enough of Abraham Lincoln. Let's go to this. That New Hampshire last presidential election defied the DNC's revised schedule held its primary before South Carolina, citing a state law that it would be the first to hold a primary. The party stripped the contest of its sanctioned status. And now, DNC Chair Ken Martin signaled that if New Hampshire jumps ahead in 2028, punishment will be more severe. Democrats want South Carolina, which is favorable to the Democrats, to be the first primary. And New Hampshire doesn't want to give up. Iowa is the first caucus. New Hampshire is the first primary. That's just how it goes there. Now here's a gut feel video where a Democrat has said stealing stuff is another item on the to-do list. Basically, shoplifting is the result of a biological need. Let me get that for you. There's the screen share. And now we're going to do this and do this.
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Repair.
A broken windshield shouldn't wreck your schedule. With SafeLight, it doesn't have to. We'll come to you for free, wherever it works for you, so you're able to do your own thing, whatever that is. SafeLight's complete mobile service can repair, replace, and recalibrate, even in your driveway. It's your windshield. Get it fixed your way at SafeLight. For free mobile service, go to safelight.com.
Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
Sorry for the commercial.
One woman, a photographer, got busted stealing sushi while she was running late for therapy. Now, talk about a white lady excuse. Something you'd hear from a Karen and not a Shaniqua. I bet her fake service dog was double parked. Another chick, a designer, pocketed $30 eye cream when she could have just used Preparation H. Right? I put it up my butt every time my eyes are puffy. Old wives' tale. But apparently, stealing stuff is just another thing on the to-do list, and you're entitled to do it. It's like affirmative action for people who wear organic deodorant.
All right. That pretty much you get the gist of what he was talking about. There are Democrats now that say stealing is a necessity. That gives them the right to steal whatever they want and not pay for it if it's something they need. This comes from the same people that want to defund the police and do away with prisons. This shows that what their goal is, they're going to take from you. Now, they talk about taking from billionaires and millionaires who already pay 48% of taxes here in this country, but they're coming for your stuff too, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. If socialists get in power, they're coming for your stuff. If you own a business, it is their right to steal from you if they need it. And without any police, without any prisons, well, you can't do anything if people steal from you. Now you can extrapolate. Man robs a convenience store. He says, well, I need the money. They had money. I needed money. I robbed the store. Without any police, without any prisons, you think he's going to stop one store? You think these people steal like one or two items? they really need and don't steal anything else. Called, I forget what it's called, but that is mental illness. That is personality disorder. Kleptomaniacs. They have to steal. They have an urge to steal. And every time they steal and get away with it, it empowers them to steal more. These Democrats are flat coming out and saying, we want to defund the police. We want to do away with prisons. And we want to be able to steal the stuff we want and need if we can't pay for it or don't want to pay for it. These are people running on a Democratic ticket. Now, my friend Dan Benzino always says, elections are about optics. It's about sound bites and snapshots. And here early, well, not early, late in the midterm elections, early for the 2028, Democrats are coming out and saying, we want to defund the police. We want to do away with prisons. And we want to steal. Got a caller waiting. Here we go. My call line's not working. I can't get my call line to work. Oh, it just tells me it's waiting for callers. Okay, good. We're good. Okay, they're just waiting for callers. Let me move that up to the top. I posted a link on my Facebook so people can call in if they wanted to. And there you go. It's up the top now so we can see if anybody wants to call in. But anyway, they're telling you what they are going to do. They're saying the quiet part out loud. They want to destroy the businesses. They want gun control over everything. And they're coming to steal your stuff. Do you think it stops at stores? You think, well, face cream, whatever, they're stealing it because they need it. Do you think if you have something they need, they're not going to come to your house and steal it? Word of note, I'm a conservative Republican, I'm MAGA, I'm evangelical Christian. If you come to my house to steal my stuff, the coroner will be coming to take your body away. That's not a threat. That's a promise. You're not stealing my stuff. And that should be a statement from all Americans. Hey, we're not all right with stealing. See, here's the problem. We took the 10 Commandments out of school. Most churches don't even post the 10 Commandments. Two things in the 10 Commandments that I think about. One, thou shalt not kill. When I was growing up, we never had school shootings. Never had them. They took the 10 Commandments out of schools, took out thou shalt not kill, and now we have school shootings. We took the 10 Commandments out of schools, and now these entitled people think they can steal whatever they want if they need it. Well, we really need it. And here's another one. Abdul al-Sayed. We might have a commercial here too, maybe not. I might have gone past the commercial. Basically, al-Sayed taunts Trump, claims he's going to make him main character of the midterms. Well, I got some bad news for you, al-Sayed. You're the main character in the midterms. Let me blow this up a little bit. Let me make sure you can see it. Now you can see it, and now I'm going to play this.
Obviously, you have ruffled some feathers with the worst person on the planet, that is Donald Trump, a man who has no real connection to his family but decided to go after yours. Obviously, you responded. But what was the first thing you felt in that moment when Donald Trump decided he was going to go after your wife in such a disgusting way?
Come at us, bro.
Yeah.
My wife is more strength than he has ever had. So come at us, see what happens. I mean, at the end of the day, like, he's going to turn me into the main character of the midterms, which I'm totally cool with, because my whole argument about Mike Rogers is he's always been an NPC.
There you go. This is another one of those defund the police people, do away with prisons, let immigrants storm over the border, don't look at fraud, waste, and abuse. Let's just keep pouring money after money after money. This guy is the center of what the Democrats, the socialist Democrats want to do. And the Democratic Socialists have been saying the same things. Now they're trying to go a little bit towards the middle, but basically AOC and Bernie Sanders and all them, tax the rich, which that's not working real well in California. All the rich are leaving. Do away with police. What do you do if there's a crime? Do away with prisons. What do you do with criminals? And if you got something they need, they feel that they can steal it because they need it. And trust me, in the midterms, we need to vote and elect men and women of faith. Democrat or Republican, we need to elect men and women of faith. People that know that the Constitution is written in stone. And people that make decisions based on the Bible. And that's why I have this podcast. But let me give you a little bit of a biblical perspective of what we talk about today. Okay? When it comes to the Medicare, Medicaid fraud, the government is not being good stewards of our money. The government's supposed to be leaders. They're supposed to be good stewards of our money. We want compassion. We want mercy. We want grace. We don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. As far as the Abraham Lincoln controversy, we need leaders who are honest, who are disciplined, who are respectful, who will do their job. And we need to know. Our sailors need to know. Our soldiers need to know. We're behind them 100%. As far as this other nonsense we talked about, with the Democrats wanting to defund the police and do away with prisons and let the borders open and stop all this fraud, waste, and abuse, they are not serving with honor. They are not serving with dignity. They're not serving with respect. And they're not being good stewards of the tax dollars we give them. And they're not leading us. Opening the borders is not protecting Americans, making things worse for Americans. All this fraud, waste, and abuse is not helping Americans. It's hurting Americans. And all this talk about life in a war zone that the left media is pumping out there about how bad it is. I've talked to several people who are in the military now, and I was in the military before. Yes, sometimes it's bad. That's a sacrifice we make. We make it for our country. We make it so when we come back to the United States, whether we stay in the military or not, there are police to fight crime, prisons for criminals, and we have a VA system which is right now broken, fixed so the veterans can get the health care they need. You know, me talk about veterans' mental health care aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln. What about the thousands of veterans who need health care and can get it to the VA, but they're living homeless on the street? Okay? This is not being good stewards of our money. This is not respecting veterans. This is not respecting the sacrifices that they made. We need to fix the VA system. Again, start with fraud, waste, and abuse, and go from there, getting the system fixed. That's going to be all for today. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.